This is a 2000 Dodge Viper RT10. Today I'm going to show you some of the features to include the exterior, interior, and then we'll take it for a test drive on the road. As you can see, the front of the Viper has the Dodge Viper logo. On the hood it has a front vent. On the top right and the top left it has another vent. Back here is a speaker grill, and it doesn't do anything, it's just for looks, but the one on the other side is another vent. Looking at the headlights, you can see that they wrap around the car. It's a very uniform shape, rounded, no edges really. Now looking at the side of the car, you can see that there's another slot for a vent right here. One's on the other side as well. It's for the temperature in the engine bay area to escape. Side doors, there's this plastic piece with this button. This is how you open up the door. Now looking at the rear of the car, you can see on the left side it says Dodge. The other side it says Viper RT10. The back shape is rounded, unlike the GTS where it comes up a little bit. This is the RT10 version. And down here you have a little plastic trim. It's not really a vent, it's just for looks. You got the two exhausts in the back, unlike the first gen and the other generations where they're on the side. This one's the back. The trunk, you just put the key in, you can lift it up, but you have to hold it up and then use the latch to hold the trunk, otherwise it'll fall by itself. You can see that the key's in the trunk. You have to turn it and then lift. Right there is the latch. Once you pull it down, you insert it right there, just like that, and the trunk will stay open by itself. Back here you have a spare tire. You have an amp. The factory amp goes there, but it's been replaced with another amp. And you have a little bit more storage on this side. Other than that, it's a small trunk. The front tire size is P275 35ZR18s. The rear tire is P335 30ZR18s. Alright, so this is the 2000 Dodge Viper RT10, the inside of it. Going from left to right, you can see that we have the gauge cluster, and in the middle we have small gauges. On the left we have the RPM. Next to it we have the speedometer, and it goes up to 200 miles per hour or 320 kilometers per hour. And in the middle, from left to right, we have the coolant temperature, which should be between about 190 and 200. Then we have the oil temperature, which is about 60. Then we have the fuel gauge, and then last but not least the battery gauge, and the battery usually stays at a constant 14 volts. So those are the instrument clusters. And then you can see on the bottom left beneath the steering wheel, we have to turn on the headlights, the light switch toggle. On top of the steering wheel we have the hazard switch. On the left side of the steering wheel next to the hazard switch we have the knob to adjust the steering wheel, and you can go up or down with it. On the right side of the speedometer we have this little gauge cluster, and it shows you, it's like a lighting cluster, and it shows you the battery light, if your parking brake's on, if the door is open, oil, if you need an oil change, if the airbag is on, etc. On the right side of that we have the knob to adjust the left and right mirror. Below that we have the illumination for the interior for the speedometer and the gauge clusters. In the middle we have 3 air vents. Below that we have a radio. Now this is an aftermarket Pioneer radio, so it's not factory. Below that we have the AC controls, and below that we have the window regulator, both for the left and the right. They're both in the center. On the right side of that we have the cigarette lighter. Below that we have the ashtray, the stick shift knob, and then below that we have the parking brake. And then on the back, between the driver and the passenger door, we have a little glove box, and if you open that, there's a little bit of storage for like your paperwork and whatnot. Above that is the middle speaker. This car has 3 speakers on the inside, left, right, and back middle. It also has the 2 tweeters on the both doors. And on the right side, you can see that we have an airbag. Then below that, it's just like a little design, but there is no glove box on the passenger side. It's only the storage compartment that's in the middle. And then on the left and right, we have the floor mats. These are aftermarket floor mats, but they fit perfectly for the Dodge Viper. And so this is the interior of a 2000 Dodge Viper RT10. Now, as you can see, the 2000 Dodge Viper is a V10. It has an 8-liter engine, 450 horsepower at 5,200 RPM, 490 pound-feet torque at 3,700 RPM. V10, it displaces overwhelmingly more volume than any other major automaker sport car at the time. The output was 450 horsepower at 5,200 RPMs. Certainly seems capable of creating some mayhem. Then there's the godly yield of torque, which Automo magazine once described it by saying, when 300 pound-feet of torque is belting you in the back at about 1200 RPM, it's on its way on to an eventual 480 feet at 3600 RPM. And you're thinking nothing but goodness gracious. This is what it sounds like with the engine running. The fans are on. I'm going to show you how it sounds with the hood closed and then with it opened. This is what the car sounds with the hood open. You can hear that rumble to the car. It's unlike anything I've heard before. Alright, so driving the Dodge Viper, you can tell that it definitely has a lot of torque because it's really hard to stall this car. I've actually never stalled it trying to take off because it has so much low-end torque. Remember, it's 490 torque at, I think it was 3,700 RPMs. So as you can see, it's really easy to shift in this thing. It's kind of a longer shifter, but it does have some get up and go. Very fun. It kind of reminds me of my Camaro, but my Camaro didn't have a lot of low-end torque. I had a 2010 SS, but this is very fast compared to it. It has about 30 more horsepower too, and a lot more torque. It's definitely a lot more fun. But other than that, it does have a lot of you know, that get up and go, and then it has steady horsepower once you're higher up in the miles per hour. I'm only in 4th gear right now, but it does have a 6-speed. Now I'm in 5th, and it cruises really nice. It's just, I can tell that it kind of like shakes more than a normal car, I guess you can say, so you have to really have more positive control. But other than that, as long as you don't, you know, turn really quick, I don't think you'll have a problem with this car at all. Now I'm in 6th. But other than that, it's you know, really fun to drive, and it doesn't have anti-lock brakes or you know, like ABS, or so you have to be more careful with it, and it doesn't have traction control either. So you want to drive it when it's like sunny out, unless you kind of have to drive it in the rain or when it's wet out. But I'm gonna be getting off the freeway, then I'll go back on, heading back east. Just going through the different gears, testing it out. I'm in 1st, now I'm in 2nd. If you're at a certain amount of RPMs, I forget what it is, but it wants you to go from 1st to 4th, because it has like a skip shifter thing. It was set back in the day just to save gas and fuel, but there's a little like adapter that you can get for under 20 bucks to disable the skip shift, so you can just go to 1st or 2nd no matter how fast you're going. But Other than that, you just need that cable if you want to skip it, but I'm just waiting for the light to turn green so I can give it some more horsepower and show you guys the speed from 0 to 60 here, I guess. But other than that, it has a nice rumble to it. The V10 does sound unlike anything I've ever heard as far as the V8s go or anything less. I've never really been in a V12, so I don't know how that sounds, but this has like a rumble to it, and it sounds really good. So here we go, we got a green light. Going fast. So it does have a lot of get up and go, very fun. I'm already at 70, so I'm trying not to go too crazy with it, but it's definitely worth the horsepower. And if you want something different than the market price of 30 to 40 grand, you don't want a Mustang or a Camaro like everybody else has, this is definitely a good buy. I got a low mileage one, so it's pretty reliable right now, and I still have a lot of miles left on it, especially if you take care of it. But other than that, this is the test drive of a 2000 Dodge Viper RT10. So this is what a 2000 Dodge Viper is all about. You have the speed, you have the torque, you have the get up and go, and it doesn't look like any other sports car on the market. For the price range of what a new Camaro or a Mustang would be, you can get a Dodge Viper RT10 and have a car that looks a lot different and performs a lot different. Now, it doesn't have all the safety features and the modern technology of a newer car, but you have that retro look, and the body style on this car is very, sporty. It doesn't look like any other car, and it's a great vehicle. You just got to be careful in it because the back end can spin out a little, but that's why you have to learn how to drive the car and don't let it drive you. Thank you guys for watching this video today, and I appreciate the time. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't forget to like that video and subscribe, or hit the bell icon to get notified when I have another video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.